What dire warning from your parents turned out to be bullshit. My parents are Korean, so fan death. When I leave my fan on at night, I feel so alive. What is fan death? In Korean culture some people believe that fans rob rooms of oxygen, and if you fall asleep with a fan on, you'll suffocate. Almost every fan in Korea has a fan with a built-in timer for that reason. WTF. There is a theory this myth was started by the Korean government to get citizens to save electricity. Turning on the lights in the car while driving is illegal. Parents say that because they are tired of kids asking to have the lights on. My parents just said they couldn't see properly with the lights on, which I have no reason to doubt, because it does reflect back off the windscreen. People are going to push you to smoke cigarettes. Everyone I've ever met who smokes and offers me a cigarette says the same thing when I tell them I don't smoke. Good for you. I wish I didn't. True, normally when we offer it's force of habit from hanging with someone who does smoke. If you say no, I'm not pushing you to start. Watching the TV will give you square eyes. When I was 4 years old, I took a mirror down with me whenever I went to watch TV to ensure my eyes had not gone square. 20 years later, they're still round. Complete bullshit. But if you had square eyes, square things would look round. You wouldn't be able to tell. How high are you? Fine. Thank you. I brought you into this world. I can take you out was my mother's favorite saying, but she never even spanked my ass. She's the sweetest lady ever. Me old gaffer's favorite line was, don't piss me off. Boy, you're not irreplaceable. I made you. I can make another one just like you. When you press the red button with the triangle in the car, all the doors fall off. I'm so using this. I laughed so hard at this mental image. That my two choices in life were either Harvard or McDonald's. Sheesh. Bit of a grey area in between those two extremes. So, can I get fries with that? You may get fries with your master's degree. Every rice left on your plate would be a new pimple on your face. Don't leave any food on your plate. Don't you know there's kids starving in Africa? Mom, there's kids starving in America. Africa doesn't have a monopoly on poverty. My Grammy told me eat all your food because there are children dumpster diving. I intentionally threw food away after that because I wanted to make sure the children had good food to eat. Wastefully wholesome. If I cross my eyes they might end up staying like that. I'm cross-eyed. Might tell that to my kids. Gum takes 7 years to digest. This is when I figured out adults lied. Cause I saw it in my poop. Just couldn't tell anybody. Cause I saw it in my poop. Whenever this comes up, I like to remind people of the pediatric case study of a patient who always swallowed his gum, leading to a gastrointestinal blockage. This clean-out regimen produced no results after 4 days. On the 5th day, the child was brought in for manual disimpaction under conscious sedation and rectal suction biopsy. On removal of the leading edge of the fecoma, a taffy-like trail of fecal material remained in the rectum. This mass was eventually manually withdrawn, and was primarily made up of chewing gum. So anyway, just because it doesn't take 7 years to digest, doesn't mean you should make a habit of swallowing gum. Otherwise you'll end up like the victim of one of Willy Wonka's karmic punishments for disobeying. Willy Wonka says, don't swallow your gum and you don't listen. Looks like you're getting the taffy suction from your ass. Ass taffy. Oompa loompa doopity dum. Don't swallow gum, or you'll plug up your bum. Oompa loompa pinkety pass. This suction hose will go in your... D&D is a satanic cult that will lure you in order to offer you up for sacrifice. Lol no. Mom. You can't eat steak that is pink on the inside. That's how you get sick. Believed this till I was about 19, until I learned that it pretty much can be as red in the center as you like, so long as it's properly seared. Turned out my mom just didn't like rare steak, and felt uncomfortable making it for me and my sister, so she just lied. If the steak isn't black, it's raw, according to my mom. To be fair, I would never have got into leather work if it wasn't for my mother's inability to cook steak. When we would go to the beach I would never want to get out of the water, so my mom told me that staying in the water too long would make me waterlogged. She said she could look into my eyes and see the level of water in my system. If the water raised above my iris, that meant I had to get out and let the water drain before I would drown. I believed this for far too long. I was swimming with a friend, and we had a track meet the next day. Her dad hollered out to us, "Don't get waterlogged." She said we could soak up too much water and be heavier when we race the next day. People who disobey their parents end up in prison. I mean, if your parents tell you don't go to prison and you disobey them. Sure. But what if they tell you to go to prison and you disobey them? Huh? What happens then, smart guy? This is beyond science. If you keep masturbating, you'll go blind. Thoroughly tested and definitively false. My mom warned me as a kid that eating the loose pieces of dried ramen from the pack would make me deathly ill. I kept doing it with no problems. One day she said that in front of my dad when I was a teen, and he just gave her this "WTF are you talking about" look. Those are the best bits. That if I kept picking my nose, my head would cave in. This can happen if you get bored of using your fingers and use an automatic drill instead. That if I used one brand of shampoo and a different brand of conditioner, that my hair would fall out. Also, when I was 5 or 6, I asked what would happen if you went the opposite way, that you turned the turn signal. My mom told me the car would explode and kill us. Not sure why she told me that shit. Because it was hilarious to watch the rising panic in your eyes as she signaled right, then twitched the wheel left. How do you know my mom so well? Immediately after telling me that she veered the opposite way of the turn signal, I still remember that cry, lol. She's got a dark sense of humor. That literally any college degree would be a guaranteed job, and the only way to get a job. I graduated in 2008, by the way. People you meet on the internet are swindlers or serial killers. Overall, the amount of people who are out there to get me and should be feared all day round was severely exaggerated. That explains some of my social problems, I guess. As a people on the internet, I'm offended. I haven't swindled or serial killed anyone in years. I've been clean for a few months. We can't pay $1 to go in the haunted house because they might not have a bathroom in there. What if you have to go to the bathroom? Just admit you're cheap, Dad. I was always skinny growing up, even though a lot of my family is overweight. I also had no interest in physical activities. My parents always used to tell me that if I didn't exercise, I'd start getting fat by the time I was 25. Jokes on them. I didn't start putting on weight until I was 30. I love your username. I can always make another you. I can't make another me. Turns out he can't. He got a vasectomy after I was born. Damn, that's cold. My dad got a vasectomy before I was born, but it was botched. I was a lovely surprise, I'm sure. If you unscrew your belly button, your bum will fall off. I did my best to avoid screwdrivers for a large part of my childhood, because I lacked the willpower not to stuff them into my belly button. I was terrified at the thought of losing my bum, but intrigued by the possibility. The world should have ended in 2012. You mean again? It already ended in 2000. Y2K got me. Sniffling kills brain cells. I didn't sniff or snort, even during colds, because I was terrified I would lose my brain cells. Turns out my mom thinks sniffling is annoying and didn't want to hear it. I mean, if you sniff bath salts, I guess it does. My mom used to tell me that masturbation would turn someone into a rapist, cause your body doesn't know any different once you get addicted. Mental health and addiction played a large part in a lot of her ideas about how the world functions. 20 years on, she's doing much better. Your passion and talent for art, games, web design, and photo manipulation won't make you any money. Go to college for something that will get you an actual career, like psychology. I graduated high school in 2007. I wanted to go to a particular college of art and design for game design or industrial and product design, but I listened to their advice instead. They were very wrong. Whoever told you psychology makes money should be slapped. That's never been true, lol. I think it can work if you get a PhD. No one is going to pay for the advice of someone with a bachelor's. Pushers will offer you drugs to get you hooked. Not once. Not once. In 36 years of living all over the world, has anyone offered me anything, unless I sort it out. I was under the impression that drugs would be easy to come by when I got old. Nope. We had to go out and find that shit. You had to ask people. There was no internet or texting to find a hookup like you lucky kids have now. You had to talk to sketchy dudes. Maybe you'll get your weed. Maybe you'll get shot. It was a toss-up. Dare really glossed over the concept of unit economics and the fact that drugs cost money. I wish they had been more honest about it. I thought friendly local dealers were going to give me free drugs every day, and it turned out to be another cruel lie like Santa Claus. Remember kids, if someone offers you drugs, say thank you, because drugs are expensive. I would be unemployable if I didn't learn cursive handwriting. Parents and teachers made me think that every job interview would have a cursive test in which they would measure the loops on the L's or something. Seriously, have never once used cursive since like taking the act